Captain's log, stardate 151107. How's everyone doing this weekend? This guy is doing awesome. Woke up to some very, 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 very awesome news. Earlier this week, Star Trek is coming back to the small screen. Stardate 1701 ? That's right, folks. January 2017, Star Trek will return to the small screen. CBS has picked it up for a 6th television series. But there's something different about this series. The pilot will premiere on CBS television, whereas the pilot and all subsequent episodes will be made available for streaming only. I honestly have mixed feelings about this, but CBS seems to think they know what they're doing, so I'll give it a shot. If the pilot's good, hell, I might even buy into the show. That being said, let us get into this week's unofficial sponsor for the entry. This week's unofficial sponsor is my friend that I have yet to meet in person, Wally Fortier of Wally's Aluminum Shaping Process. www.facebook.com/WASPAA. Look him up. Look him up if the price is right. He'll make you a Federation logo, a Klingon Empire logo. Hell, he could even make you something ugly like that. But hey, you know what? Doesn't bother me, eh? Ladies and gentlemen, awesome day today. I'm ready to drink. I don't know about you. I'm ready to drink. 2 BOCs. Pop it the right way. First BOC. Gonna be, you've seen it before, Shock Top Belgian White. 5.2% alcohol by volume. Proper opening device. Kapla! Star Trek fans everywhere are celebrating this week. We are celebrating a new series coming to the air, and eventually, or before that, the 50th anniversary movie. Well, excuse me, the movie, which is a tie-in with the 50th anniversary. Hey, you know what? I talked about Star Trek. The big thing I wanted to get out there this week. Folks, let's hit it up with some birthdays. Got to start it out the right way. First birthday for the week. Gal I graduated high school with, friend of mine, very good friend of mine. I haven't seen her in years. I knew her as Diane Fallon. I'm talking about Diane Denny. Sunshine, what's going on? How you doing? Did you have a good birthday? I hope you did. I hope it was an awesome birthday. And you know what? I don't know if you drink, but I'm going to drink to you. And if you don't drink, I'll drink for you. Next up on the list, I actually bumped into him today. Believe it or not. I work with him here at Earth Station Okinawa. My friend, Aaron Hondrick. Hey, Big Hondo, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Was your birthday a good one? I hope so. My friend, I don't know. I honestly don't know if you drink or not. If you don't, I'm going to drink this one for you. Or excuse me, if you don't, I'm going to drink one for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and drink to you. Next on the list, this lovely lady. I met her when I was living in Germany. I actually became Facebook friends with her 4 years ago on Thursday. 151105. My dear friend, Maegan Moogallion. I call her Moogie. How are you? How was your birthday? I hope it was a good one. Hey, you know what? I owe you a welcome home from your business trip. Welcome home. Job well done. Happy birthday. I'm proud to have been your Facebook friend for the last 4 years, hopefully with many more to come. Moogie, let's drink. All right, next on the list, celebrating her birthday today, actually. My dear sister-in-law, the wife of my brother Josh Chenoweth, Reba Chenoweth, Reba, Sunshine, my dear sister-in-law, how are you? I hope you're having a good birthday. I hope my brother is spoiling you rotten. If not, I'm going to come home and I'm going to attempt to kick his butt. But you know what? I am looking forward to seeing you guys here in the next few weeks. I really am. I hope we can all meet up, hang out, catch up, shoot the bull, anything, everything, whatever. I hope we get the chance to do it. And you know what? Excuse me. I'm going to drink to you. Happy, not belated, happy birthday. And the last greeting, the last birthday for this week, it's actually tomorrow, 151108. I knew her in Germany, my dear friend Ashlee Batista. Ashlee, what's going on with you there, Sunshine? How you doing? Hope things are going well. I still remember that first time you weirded me out. You know what I'm talking about. But hey, you know what? I've moved past that little bit of you can call it a phobia if you want to. I've gotten used to it actually. But Ashlee, my dear, I hope things are going well for you. I don't know if you like to imbibe. If so, imbibe with me. If not, I will imbibe for you. Please let me know, because I honestly forget. Hey, you know what? This one's moving quick. Birthday greetings. Extended. This week, on Identify This, I had 3 things I was looking for. I wanted you to identify the character. There we go. I wanted you to identify the character for Identify This for the first entry. I was looking for, and I would have taken any variation of Captain Rachel Garrett of the Starship Enterprise 1701C. Ty Ross, you absolutely nailed it, sir. Congratulations to you. Job well done. You know your Trek history. You know your Trek. Well done. Awesome job. Next, on Identify This, I wanted you to identify the device. Take a look at it there for a second. This is the M5 Multitronic unit, also known as M5 for short. The reason it was called the M5 was because the Multitronic units 1 through 4 were not entirely successful, as Dr. Richard Daystrom put it. But I was looking for M5, the M5 computer, the M5 Multitronic unit, looking for at least M5. Edward Morris, you hit it right on the head. Well done. Congratulations to the both of you. I give you the prosperous salute. I'm going to drink to the both of you. And the last entry for Identify This, which nobody took a shot at. Nobody took a shot at. I understand it. I wanted you to identify the character, or at least who he claimed to be. Okay? This is from the Void. Well, I'm not going to go into where it's from. It's Voyager, so I can't have you identify the series later on. But this character claimed to be Steth. Alright? And believe it or not, he was played by Star Trek fan Dan Butler, who had the role of Bulldog on Frasier. Nobody took a guess on it. Honestly, part of me is not surprised. That was a tough one. I don't blame anybody for not trying it, but at the same time, as my friends over at Beer and Song of the Day would say, God hates a coward. But it's all good. Let's move on. Next 3 greetings. I'm very proud of the 3 of you. You 3 have about a week or 2 ago, you 2 passed your 6-month certification. Excuse me. And first one, Dustin Shannon. You looked like you were starting to struggle a little bit. I jumped in. I helped you out. We got you through it. Awesome job. Michael Kahn. Sorry, I had to. You just had a lot on your mind, but you still pulled it off. And my dear friend and fan of the page and show, Jessica Stoger, I'm just going to say awesome job to you. You know about it. I know about it. We both know. I'm not going to air it. If you want it to be known, you can tell people. If not, it is what it is. Ball's in your court. But congratulations to the 3 of you on passing your 6-month certification a couple weeks ago. I give the three of you the prosper salute, and I'm going to drink to you. And last but not least, y'all probably noticed I'm wearing the Devon Still jersey. I'm rocking the Still. It had to be done. It had to be done in honor of not only the Bengals going 8-0 for the first time in their franchise, but in honor of finding out that my dear friend Dana Konkel Obi, that I knew from Germany, is actually from the other side of the line, from Ohio. As long as we've known each other, I have never known where you came from. I have never known that you were from Ohio. That's actually kind of upsetting, but at the same time, we really never talked into that much detail. But hey, you know what? I'm a Colts fan first. Peyton and Eli after that, and never root for the Patriots. That is the rule in my house. And you know what? I am proud to don the Devon Still jersey. Y'all know the story. If not, I will go into it at a later time. This is one of the only jerseys that I am proud to own that the player's not a member of my team. I rock the Devon Still jersey. You all know why. If not, hit me up privately, and I will be more than happy to tell you the story, for those of you that don't know. Anyway, Dana, I'm sorry your plans fell through. Your plans for the coming month fell through. I really am. It would have been awesome to find out you were home. Excuse me. It would have been awesome. But hey, you know what, Dana? I'm going to drink to you. I'm going to drink to you anyway. Why? Because you're a girl and you don't watch football. Evil smirk. Hey, you know what? Additional greetings extended. I'm 12 minutes into this thing. I may set a record. Now that I said that, I just jinxed myself. Now, you know what time it is, right? If you don't, you're about to find out. It's that time. Football! It is time for us to talk some gridiron. And for all y'all here watching this, I have this week's picks ready to rock and roll for the week. Browns, Bengals. I called this one correctly. I called that the Bengals were going to destroy the Browns. I would say 31-10 is destruction. I called this one correctly. Ladies and gentlemen, 8-0. The Bengals are legit this year. They are a threat. And believe it or not, this is Beer and Song of the Day's Game of the Week. This is their Game of the Week. There's one later on that I wanted to get to, but I think... No, I'll let him air it out. This was Beer and Song of the Day's Game of the Week, which I'm happy to announce. Packers-Panthers. I'm calling the Packers on this one. They're out for blood, mainly because their undefeated streak ended last season. Ended last weekend. They're playing the Panthers, who are still undefeated. I have a feeling the Packers are going to try to take them down. Redskins, Cheaters. This one's kind of obvious, folks. The Redskins don't have a prayer. I'm calling the Cheaters on this one. Cheaters are going to win it. Titans, Saints. This one actually came close to being my toilet bowl, but the Saints are decent this year. They're too inconsistent, but the Titans are garbage. The Titans are absolute garbage this year. Dolphins, Bills. I'm calling the Bills, and if they lose to Miami and Buffalo, the Bills are a fraud. Rams, Vikings. This one, believe it or not, it could go either way. But I've got the Vikings pegged to win. The Rams are too inconsistent. The Vikings, well, honestly, both teams are too inconsistent. But it can go either way. Jaguars, Jets. Jaguars don't have any hope. In fact, I think the Jaguars have something to celebrate because as of right now, I believe that the Jaguars are higher up in the AFC South than the Titans, and they're usually dead last. But anyway, the Jets are for real this year. I've got them pegged to win. They've only lost 3 games. 3 games? 3 games. I think they've lost 3 games. 2 to the Patriots, and I want to say 1 to the Raiders. Which brings me to this next pick. Raiders, Steelers. The Steelers have been too inconsistent. The Raiders are showing that they actually won it. The Raiders want a chance to be in the playoffs. I'm going to peg the Raiders to win this one. But this one, I am going to say this one could be an upset. Big Ben is back in the mix. Giants, Buccaneers. Giants, hands down. The Buccaneers are too inconsistent. I have to go with the Giants, mainly because Eli's number 3 right now. Well, number 3 in my house. Falcons, 49ers. The 49ers have a different quarterback in the mix. It could change things, but I don't think it'll change it by much. They may score more points, but I still say the Falcons are going to win. I'm calling the Falcons for that one. Broncos, Colts. This one probably could have been Beard Song of the Day's game of the week. But for reasons he's talked about, he's not featured in this game. I'm saying the Colts. The Colts are my boys. I'm sensing the upset though. And this one's actually kind of rough. I want the Colts to beat the Broncos because they're my number 1 team. But at the same time, if the Colts beat the Broncos, that means the playoffs have a chance of being. That means the playoffs have a chance of going through Foxborough, and too many freaking games at Foxborough end in cheating scandals. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Eagles, Cowboys. I got to go with the home field pick on this one. I'm going with the Cowboys, but at the same time, Tony Romo is not in the game. I am smelling the upset. And finally, this week, to round out my picks this week, Browns, Bears, Chargers. This one is my toilet bowl game. This is my toilet bowl for the week. I am going with the Chargers. The Bears are too very inconsistent. Too very inconsistent? How the hell does that work out? The Browns are too inconsistent. Damn it. The Bears are too... The Chargers are inconsistent. The Bears are garbage. I need to quit drinking, but I'm not going to. And your teams on the bye this weekend are the Lions. Probably a blessing in disguise for them. The Lions, the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Ravens, and the Texans. You know what? Let's put it to bed. It's dead, Jim. You know what? Time for a reload. Time for a reload. Here we go. Might not be able to see it. Newcastle British Pale Ale. Or Newcastle Caldonian British Pale Ale. 5.8% alcohol per volume. Or alcohol by volume. Proper opening device. Which for those of you that don't know, is the USS Enterprise bottle opener. Complete with name and registry number. Folks, I apologize for the light shining into the windows. I don't usually record at this time. But hey, I want to get it done and over with. I want to get it recorded and over with. That way I can move on and get ready for next week. Proper opening device. There we go. Kapla! Alright. We only had one event in Trek history this week. Believe it or not, one event. I'm waiting for the week where nothing happens. This week in Trek history, November 5th, 1949, actor Armin Shimmerman was born. Now, he had the honor of playing the first Ferengi in Star Trek, as well as the first Ferengi regular in Star Trek on Deep Space Nine. He's better known as Quark, but he has had other roles in Star Trek, obviously. Mostly Ferengi, but he's only played 2 non-Ferengi roles. He had the role of the gift box in Haven, and he also had the role of... Crap, what was his name? I honestly, his name... I'm drawing a blank on the character he played in Far Beyond the Stars. That was not Quark. But anyway, he had the opportunity to appear as a human for the first time ever in his acting career on Star Trek without Ferengi makeup. He is 66 on the 5th. And you know what? It is time for us to go into the databanks. This week's entry is Bread and Circuses. Folks, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. This entry of Prosper contains information which could be considered a spoiler and give away potential plot details. Anyway, the episode is entitled Bread and Circuses. While on patrol, the USS Enterprise detects the wreckage of the SS Beagle, reported missing 6 years ago. Spock doesn't detect any bodies in the debris, which prompts Kirk to order a search of a nearby planet. Spock pulls the record tapes of the Beagle and notes that the commander was R.M. Merrick, a friend of Kirk's. Planet 892-4 reads almost exactly like Earth, just shaped a little differently. 892-4 is the planet in which Spock calculated a trajectory to which the survivors of the Beagle may have landed. Uhura picks up a television broadcast, which is reminiscent of the 6 o'clock news. Excuse me. As Kirk deduces the inhabitants of the planet are comparable to 20th century Rome, he decides to beam down. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy beam down to the surface in a nearly isolated area. As Spock runs a scan of the planet from the surface, Kirk determines the prime directive is in full force. As the landing party begins to move, they're shot at by a projectile weapon. A group of 4 men, armed with rifles, approach the landing party and disarm them. Their leader, Flavius, deduces that there's some sort of military group and escorts them back to their cave. As they approach, a gentleman named Septimus is alerted to their presence. Flavius nearly kills them for believing they aren't sun worshippers, which that'll come into play later. When Spock states their mission, Flavius presses his case, thinking that they're Romans. Kirk takes out his communicator and asks Scotty to scan the area. The locals are startled to hear exactly how many of them there are in the area. Septimus instructs Flavius not to hurt them unless he can prove that the Romans can do as Kirk just did. Kirk and company examine the people and the literature of the planet while trying to determine what Septimus knows. As Spock shows Kirk evidence of parallel development, Kirk pleads with Septimus to go into the city. At the mention of Captain Merrick's name, the locals rise up and confront Kirk about Merricus, as he's known. About Merricus, the first citizen. As the landing party discusses the parallelism, Septimus returns and states that the Starfleet officers will be given local clothing to aid them on their journey. As the three, with Flavius, make their way towards the city, they pause and discuss recent events as they're captured by the Romans. As Flavius attacks the police, they knock him down and declare Spock a barbarian. Excuse me. As the group of 4 are taken to a prison cell, Kirk tells the guard he wants to see the first citizen, claiming he's a friend. After being held for hours, Spock and McCoy bicker as normal, causing Flavius to wonder if they're actually enemies. Flavius speaks more in detail about being a sun worshipper as the guards come in for him for the games. As McCoy fakes an illness, they overpower the guards. However, before they can escape, they run into Merrick and proconsul Claudius Marcus. As the group is taken to chambers, Merrick reveals he's told the locals everything. While dining, Merrick explains the crew of the Beagle landed on the planet looking for supplies to repair their ship. Upon being confronted, the crew decided to stay. Spock defends the Romans' culture, stating that he understands their point of view and why they don't want their culture to be contaminated. As Marcus tries to maneuver Kirk into bringing down his crew by threatening to kill Spock and McCoy, Kirk takes his communicator and tells Scotty, condition green, all is well. Marcus orders the 3 of them to be taken to the arena. On the Enterprise, Scotty has been ordered not to take any action. However, he decides to frighten the planet's inhabitants. In the city arena, Name the Winner is about to begin. Kirk is escorted onto the set handcuffed as Spock and McCoy are ushered into the arena to face Achilles and Flavius. Achilles. Flavius states he doesn't mind fighting and hesitates momentarily as Achilles attacks Spock immediately. Flavius and McCoy face off easily. After taking a couple of lashes from the guard's whip, Flavius begs McCoy to at least defend yourself. As Flavius takes down McCoy, Spock overpowers Achilles and aids McCoy. While deciding the punishment for the foul, Spock and McCoy are taken to their cell, while Kirk is taken to Marcus's quarters. Kirk looks around, seeing a blonde female enter the chamber from another entry to serve him. She identifies herself as Drusilla, and states that she is his slave for the evening. Who could pass that up? If you've seen her, you would know what I'm talking about. Kirk walks over to her, but refuses to cooperate, fearing that they are not alone. She states that they are indeed alone. As Spock tries to work the cell door over, he and McCoy debate their situation. While Spock and McCoy get heated over a logic versus emotion discussion, they both share a moment of mutual worry over Kirk. Kirk, however, has enjoyed his slave and is awoken by Marcus. Marcus states that one of the communicators has been taken, to which Marcus states Kirk doesn't have after a brief search. Excuse me. Kirk and Marcus have another back and forth about punishment, man to man. The guards are ordered to take Kirk to the arena to be executed. Marcus orders a quick single thrust. Suddenly, Flavius comes out and attacks the would-be executioner. Both are killed as the lights flash. Kirk grabs a weapon and runs for the cell. Kirk springs his men as the guards attack the landing party. Excuse me. Merrick contacts Enterprise and orders a beam-up before being killed. With his dying action, Merrick tosses the communicator into the cell with the landing party, who is then transported aboard the ship. On the bridge, Uhura reveals that the sun in question that everyone's been worshipping isn't the system's star, but is the Son of God, as the ship leaves orbit. I felt this one was one of the weaker entries of the season. But hey, it's like anything else, some people like it. Gene Roddenberry and Gene Kuhn wrote this episode's teleplay from a story by playwright and television writer John Newbuell. However, Roddenberry and Kuhn received sole writing credit for the episode. Excuse me. Roddenberry revised the shooting script as the episode was being filmed. Director Ralph Sininsky remembers picking up the day's script pages when arriving to the set in the morning. Whew. The title, Bread and Circuses, comes from a line by the Roman satirist Juvenal, Juvenal, and refers to the practice in ancient Rome of providing a regular free bread or grain dole to the lower classes and free entertainment in the city's arena and circuses, both of which had the effect of preventing civil unrest in the populace. This episode parodies the television industry in several ways. Fake applause and cat calls are used to simulate a studio audience, and the race for high television ratings is lampooned several times. Excuse me. The TV station manager / master of the games threatens the now pacifist runaway slave that he had better fight convincingly. You bring this network's ratings down, Flavius, and we'll do a special on you. Later, the proconsul sneers at Kirk about the captain's impending death, to be televised from the arena by telling Kirk that you're centuries beyond anything as crude as television. Kirk replies, I've heard it was similar, an oblique reference to the series' own ratings difficulties. Comic relief is in the scene where McCoy and Spock heckle each other on the TV stage during the gladiatorial duels. Whew, I'm tripping over the words. The caves where the Children of the Sun hide out are one of the most used locations in television and movies. In addition to being the entrance to the Bat Cave, they are also seen in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Kung Fu, and various police and western shows. They are located right below the famous Hollywood sign. Huh, imagine that. During the location shooting for this episode, the new producer John Meredith Lucas visited the set, accompanied by Gene Roddenberry. Lucas was struck by the tension and bad atmosphere among the cast. Shatner came around the corner, and when he saw Gene, he turned around and went the other way. And the cast was fighting too. All the actors complained to me about all the other actors. The newsreel scene of the arrest was filmed in front of an office building at Paramount Studios. Paramount production buildings were also utilized for location filming in Patterns of Force and Assignment Earth. I like that one. One of the shots of the planetary capital in the opening of Act 2 is of the Great Dome at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, whose words can be read somewhat above the pillars. Excuse me. The next shot shows the Legion of Honor on the left bank in Paris. Its motto, Honneur et Patrie, is not Latin but French. Sorry, I butchered that. Oh, well, who cares? This is one of only 2 original series episodes featuring dialogue in Act 1 before the title of the episode appears on screen. What? Oh, okay. The other episode is A Private Little War. Took me a minute to figure out what the hell that meant. Several sequences from this episode made the blooper reel. Jack Perkins had a line which was supposed to read, "If they refuse to move out on cue, skewer them," but instead said, "Screw them." After viewing that take in the dailies, Roddenberry wrote a memo to director Ralph Sininsky suggesting that all dialogue should be carefully enunciated in the future. Here we go. Ted Cassidy appeared out of nowhere dressed as Injun Joe from his work on The New Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and carried Shatner off just before he was going to machine gun the lock of Spock and McCoy's cell. While he was being carried, Shatner yelled out, "Hey, I don't know about you, but this is not the way it should work. I want you to know." This was the first scene to be filmed that day, and when Cassidy visited the set, the cast and crew came up with this small prank to start the day's work in a happy mood. Everyone on the set knew about it, except Shatner. As the police closed in on the landing party after they escaped their cell, one of the extras slipped and fell. This is the reason there is a quick cut before the policeman reached the main corridor. That's a hell of a way to work it in there. George Takei does not appear in this episode. He was shooting the Green Berets at the time. Voiceover artist Bartel LaRue makes one of 2 on-camera appearances in the series in this episode. The other is in Patterns of Force. Proconsul Marcus Insignia is not a Roman symbol. A legionary eagle or a fasces, F-A-S-C-E-S, but rather the coat of arms of the English playwright William Shakespeare. The automatic weapons that the Roman guards wield are Danish Madsen M50 submachine guns. Very nice. A number of costumes and props were recycled from Paramount's storage vaults, including the Roman guards outfits. Many of these items were originally made for Cecil B. DeMille's epics such as The Signs of the Cross, Cleopatra, and The Crusades, which makes sense. This is the only original series episode in which it is explicitly stated that the planetary natives are speaking in English. This was perhaps done to make the character's misinterpretation of sun worshippers as, sun worshippers with an O, as sun worshippers with a U more plausible, as sun with an O and sun with a U would likely not be homophones in another language. They are not in either Latin or Greek, the 2 main languages spoken in the Roman Empire. Two different characters, well, they are kind of difficult. 2 different characters have the same name in this one episode. The primary, Claudius Marcus, is the proconsul, while his namesake is mentioned as the gladiator who slew William B. Harrison, the last of the barbarians. Whew, almost there. Most reviewers cite the satire of network television and the race for ratings, the main adversary of Star Trek during its original 3-year run, as the high point of this episode. Alan Asherman notes in the Star Trek Compendium, in the hands of Star Trek's dominant genes, Roddenberry and Kuhn, this episode also becomes a marvelous satire of the television industry. Director Ralph Sininsky claims that the tight schedule resulted in the episode turning out to be of lower quality than it could have been under better circumstances, especially regarding the arena scenes. The scenes in the arena are the part of bread and circuses most harmed by the time restrictions imposed by the new management. The sequences were literally shot on the run. The satiric look at live television was there, but the spectacle of the Roman arena was far less than it should have been. There was so much more that could have been done that would have been exciting and entertaining, but it required the time to stage and rehearse. Excuse me. With necessary care taken to avoid injury to the actors involved. That set piece should have been the highlight of the production, but those bloodhounds in the black suits were nipping at our heels. Excuse me. The Roman planet, known as Magna Roma to its inhabitants, according to some published Star Trek reference material, is revisited in the novel The Captain's Honor, set 100 years after the encounter by the original Enterprise crew. The novel details how the alternate Rome conquered their world and explains that 100 years after the events of Bread and Circuses, the Romans are now Federation members and are participating in galactic affairs utilizing at least one Constitution-class starship, the former USS Farragut, renamed the USS Centurion, and run according to their own methods and principles rather than those of Starfleet. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for this one. Let's take it home. It's dead, Jim. You know what? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I want to thank you for having me in your homes via YouTube, Facebook, however you watch me, or wherever you watch me from, be it phone, iPad, computer, Apple TV. However you do it, thank you for having me into your homes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make like the Enterprise and warp out. Everyone take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink, but more importantly, you might kill yourself or someone else. And drinking and driving is dumber than being a Twilight fan. And what's worse than that is rooting for cheating bastards like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, and the only reason I'm undefeated is because I suck off the refs before the game. Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who watch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends ISIS or the Westboro Baptist Church who tried to picket Leonard Nimoy's funeral but couldn't find it. Things like that are highly illogical, and I will not make time for them. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all live long and prosper.